It doesn't matter what you're going through in life. It doesn't matter how difficult the situation is. It doesn't matter how bad things have become. There's always something you can do about it. Even if that doing means being still within yourself and knowing that you're in God's hands. That in itself is choosing to do something. Now, we live in a time where there's so much pressure to just live day to day. Getting through traffic is a mission. You get to work, meetings, or perhaps you're not working and you're looking for a job, or perhaps you're looking after children at home. That in itself is also a challenge because there's so many technologies that our children are exposed to, and kids are growing up much quicker in terms of what they know than when we were growing up, right? So on every front, there's a unique set of challenges. And it's understandable and easy to feel a sense of powerlessness as you navigate day-to-day living. So in this video, I wanted to talk about how you can increase your sense of power. And the way I'm going to do it is going to be by first laying a foundation about how things work on the inside of you. Because it doesn't matter me giving you wonderful tips that you can apply with your conscious mind, think about it and you do it, and then you're increasing your power, because that wouldn't be long lasting. Something within you needs to change, to shift for the change to be long lasting. Let me say this. Every human being is made up of three parts. So there's your spirit, there's your body, and there's your soul. Now, your spirit is your eternal part. I call that your godlike state because God is a creator. And by definition, human beings are also creators. We have the power to create any life that we desire. And this is done through what we think about and what we actively work towards. Now, animals don't have this wonderful ability. A lion that you find in Kruger National Park today is similar to the lion that was there 100, 200 years ago, because animals don't evolve. A lion will always be a lion. It can't suddenly evolve and decide to build cities or to invent some kind of new technology. But that's the creative power that human beings have. So I refer to that part, as I said, as your godlike state, the image and likeness of God. Then the next part is your soul. Now your soul is made up of three parts. In your soul, there's your will, there's your mind, and there's your emotions. Your emotions are an indicator of what you're experiencing. Your will simply refers to your ability to choose. So every day we're faced with hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions that we make in terms of deciding which direction we want to go on something. And then the final one is your mind. Now, your mind is made up of your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind plays a critical role because that's where the programs of your life sit. So everything that you believe about money, about sexuality, about religion, about gender, about work, all the beliefs that you have, they were formed from the time you were born up until the age of 7. And the only way that they change is when you make an active choice to change them. If you don't, you will run on the programs that you received at that time. And the reason I call them programs is because they were simply downloaded onto you. Your mind was in a hypnotic state. The state of your brain was almost in a hypnotic state where it was highly suggestible. That's why you often hear people say things like kids are like sponges, they absorb everything, and it's true. So all your beliefs you just absorb them simply by observing the adults around you. And then the next one is your body. Now, your body is experienced through your five senses. So, touch, smell, sound, etc. That's how you experience the world. So, in order for you to experience power, the three must be aligned. So, in other words, what you know in your spirit, that indestructible part of you, that God-like presence within you, is aligned to what decisions you make, to what emotions you experience, and to what thoughts you have within your mind. In turn, is aligned to what your body is doing. You will experience power. A sense of powerlessness develops because there isn't alignment between the spirit, the soul, and the body. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, that you come across as a confident person, and you've got your things in order, and you're a planner, and people look at you and they think, wow, that person really knows what they're doing. But in your mind, based on your programming, there's this little voice that always tells you, but you're not worthy. You think you're special. You really think you can do these things. Have you looked at what kind of a family you come from? Nobody in your family does things like this. And then in your spirit is telling you, you're incredible. You're amazing. You have unlimited potential. You can do all things. Now, because of what is happening in your mind, you won't experience power. And it may manifest itself as you second guessing yourself, being unsure of what to do, constantly needing people's approval. And that's because you haven't balanced the three, you haven't aligned them. So you can change that voice within you by replacing it with something new, something that speaks to who you want to be. So you can, for instance, put the voice within you by repeating as an affirmation, saying, I can do it. I am worthy. I am powerful. And when you say that often enough to yourself, your mind will begin to believe it. And when it does, what is in your mind will be aligned to your body, will be aligned to your spirit. But if you neglect any area here and you don't use it to serve you towards the person that you want to be, powerlessness will continue being experienced in your life. I've come across one or two clients where they wanted to take specific action. So they wrote their goals down. They wanted to move towards something, but they were unable to do so. And they tried different techniques. Maybe I need to wake up earlier. Maybe I need to go to more seminars, etc., on this specific thing that I want to accomplish. But after several coaching sessions, what became clear was they didn't believe that they were worthy to go for what they wanted to go for. They didn't believe that they were worthy to gain the success that they wanted to work towards. And because of that, no matter how much action they took, they couldn't seem to get past a certain level of work. So when they worked on their beliefs, they, in time, developed more momentum in terms of taking consistent action towards what it is that they wanted to do. So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, so there's the spirit, there's the soul, and there's the body. Which one is the most important? Which one should I spend the most time on? If I don't know how to go about this thing, where should I start? What is key? Where I would suggest you start is with taking action. Because the more action you take is the more you'll bring about the desire within yourself to make that thing work. Because if you do it the other way around, it's easy for you to philosophize and to internalize in terms of your spirit and your mind, to think about the wonderful things that you do. But if you're not taking action, if it's not manifesting in the real world, then it just remains an idea. Whereas if you're actively working towards something, even if you don't believe it, it's manifesting. And it's just a matter of aligning your soul and your spirit to whatever it is that you're working towards. I hope that makes sense. So in closing, I want to say this. Powerlessness is a choice. Just like choosing to take your power back is a choice. Now, does that mean that it's going to be easy? It's going to be a walk in the park? No, definitely not. And nothing in life worth having comes easy. It takes work. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be running around sweating, burning the midnight oil, but it will mean that you will have to take every thought and make it captive. You'll have to take every thought and make it submit to what it is that you want to achieve. And when you take a thought captive, you must replace it with a new one, not to leave yourself in a vacuum, because the mind is always thinking of something. It's very rare that your mind can be just in a neutral state. I know people who meditate and yogis and so on can get into that state of mind quite often and stay there. But for most of us, there's always thought going through our heads. There's never just nothingness. So replace it with a thought that serves you. I was watching a documentary on YouTube. I can't remember who they were talking about, but I remember what the presenter said about one of the authors they'd featured. He'd said that power is when your personality serves your purpose. So when everything about you is aligned towards what it is that you really want to achieve in life, that's power. So if you're a caring, loving person and you're in a job that allows you to be that every single day, that's power right there, because your personality is serving you for a greater whole. But if you're constantly being suppressed and oppressed, or you're making decisions that you know are not your truth, you're killing your power. You're destroying yourself. Your voice is just as important as the person that you worry what they'll think if you decide to take your power. There's nobody who's more important than the next person. God has no favorites. The sun shines on all of us. But we tend to lock ourselves into a box because we think, if I start doing that, what will they say? What will they think? I better keep the peace and not disturb the way things have always been done. And by doing that, guess what? You're taking away your power. I came across a wonderful book that I also wanted to recommend in terms of increasing your power and being a person of truth, living your truth. It's a book called Boundaries. I don't know if you can see the name of the author. Oh, there we go. Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. This is an incredible book. We often drain our power because we're doing things to make other people happy and we're allowing them to step over our boundaries. But when you have your boundaries intact and you're true to who you are, definitely your sense of power will go up. Your spirit instinctively knows what truth is. And it is when you begin to live your truth that you will be set free to live the life that you know that you were created for. A life of abundance, a life of freedom, to be fully who you were created to be. A life filled with purpose.